You know, my grandmother taught me many years ago, in her words and in the example of her entire life, to believe fiercely in tomorrow, but to work tirelessly for today. She was born on a sharecropper's plantation. She felt the vicious sting of discrimination. She was told where she could sit, what door she could enter, all manner of rules written and unwritten, but enforced just the same. But through it all, she was unfamiliar with bitterness. She raised 8 children, waiting tables to support her family, and waiting for moments of grace to support her faith. You can see her tenacity and her belief in the future in the fact that every single one of her 8 children graduated from high school. She taught her children, and she taught me, that it doesn't matter where you start in life, it matters where you finish. My grandmother's wisdom guided me through school. It guided me as an attorney, as a judge, and later as the president of the Child Advocacy Center at Children's Hospital. And it guides me today as I stand before you as your next Lieutenant Governor for the state of Ohio. Thank you. You know, Ted and I share the hard-earned fortitude that comes from humble beginnings and high hopes. We share an abiding concern for our neighbors, a feeling that our mission is to make great the life of this world, as said by Robert Kennedy so many years ago. But we also share a vision and a belief that within urban Ohio, there is a certain magic where commerce meets culture. When you think of Pennsylvania, Indiana, or almost any other state in this region, there are just 1 or 2 cities that define the state. But Ohio is unique. We are not a city-state. We are a state of cities. Ohio has more than 100,000 residents in its cities. We have more cities with that population than New York, New Jersey, or 3 dozen other states. And our cities matter, not just to Ohio, but to the world. Because it was an Ohio city that gave the world its first professional fire department. It was an Ohio city that gave the world its first electric street lights. It was an Ohio city that gave the world its first professional baseball team. And it was an Ohio city that was the birthplace of aviation, and thereafter the birthplace of parachutes. You need both. You know, the census tells us that more than 1 out of 5 Ohioans live in our 10 largest cities, but 4 out of 5 Ohioans live in our metropolitan areas. And researchers have shown that when income growth is up in a city, it tends to raise the surrounding region. When the housing market is strong in a city, it tends to bolster the entire region. That means for the vast majority of Ohioans, the pulse of the central city courses through their hometown. That's why, from his first day in office, Ted Strickland has worked so hard to strengthen Ohio's cities, and that's why I am so excited to share with you all here today that if the voters elect us in November, Ohio's cities will be at the center of my service as Lieutenant Governor. I will be on call for our mayors, our local government officials. I will work with the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus and other leaders across the state that are passionate about our cities. And I will be at the ready to bring together Ohio cabinet members and state government officials to apply the best of our collective efforts to the challenges of our cities. For the next 4 years, the cities will be my focus, but forever, the cities will be my pride. Now, let there be no doubt that Ted Strickland and I understand the life-changing, spirit-raising, city-building power of education. While dozens of states have been inflicting massive cuts on their schools, Governor Strickland fought for our children and raised school funding by 5.5% in the last budget. Thanks to the governor's vision, we now have comprehensive education reform that puts critical thinking and problem-solving skills at the center of our school day. And it will allow our children to soar as high and as far as their intellect will take them. Because the governor and I understand that success in life depends more than on memorizing timetables, we have to challenge and inspire our children to not only repeat old answers, but to answer new questions. And the governor has made an unprecedented record in that regard with STEM schools. The governor, STEM means science, technology, education, and mathematics. And the governor has been laying the foundation for our students to thrive in the economy of the future. Metro High School, a STEM school right here in Columbus, just celebrated its first graduating class, and every single graduate is headed to college, every single one. Building on the success of Metro, the administration has made grants to help start 2 STEM high schools in the Dayton region, a second Columbus school, and 1 each in Akron, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, and work has begun to start a STEM high school in Toledo. The STEM education commitment extends to the Choose Ohio First scholarship that is granting our STEM students and encouraging them to continue their education at an Ohio college. The entire STEM plan reflects leadership across the administration, including the Chancellor of Higher Education, the Superintendent of Public Instruction, and the Director of Development. As Lieutenant Governor, that's exactly the kind of collaboration I would seek as we build on the issues facing our urban community. So you know what? The critics have spoken, and every Ohioan should hear what they have to say about our schools. The Education Commission of the States gave Ohio its award for the most innovative education reform plan in the nation. Education Week rates Ohio schools in the top 5 in the nation. But even with that, ladies and gentlemen, there is vital work left to be done. The research group Policy Bridge found that in Northeast Ohio cities, about 1/3 of African American men lack a high school degree. That is one reason African American males in the region endure an unemployment rate double that for the overall male population. And sadly, this imbalance is common in cities throughout our state. So let me be blunt here. We will not accept African American boys giving up on schools, and we will not accept schools giving up on African American boys. Today, we pledge to make reality an important piece from the strategic plan for higher education put forth by Chancellor Fingerhut and the Board of Regents. We will create the Leadership Center for African American Male Achievement to give Ohio a groundbreaking educational policy, advocacy, research, and training center to recruit and graduate more African American men from college. Ted Strickland and I understand the life-changing, spirit-raising, city-building power of job skills. Under the governor's leadership, the state has revolutionized job training programs to center our efforts around the fastest-growing industries. All told, more than 140,000 Ohioans have received job training from the state since 2007. And today, we are proud to say that at the governor's urging, there is $25 million in funding forthcoming from casino revenue to create a new entry path for long-term employment in Ohio cities. And with those dollars, we will launch the Urban Co-op and Internship Program, which will target high unemployment, high poverty areas of our urban centers to create work opportunities in growing industries with low entry barriers. Ted Strickland and I, we understand the life-changing, spirit-raising, city-building power of public transportation. You may recall that a year ago, when record-high fuel prices were abound, that the governor infused millions of dollars into public transportation. So today, we propose prioritizing business expansion near bus and other urban transit lines. For Department of Development incentives and other forms of state aid, we will put companies on the top of the list that want to do business in places where people can get. So let's recognize that transportation is now the second largest expense in a typical household budget. So today we propose defining affordable housing as not just the cost of the building, but the cost of getting from the house to the job. When the state issues low-income housing tax credits and other incentives for developers, we will prioritize locations with access to public transportation. You know, Ted Strickland and I also understand the life-changing, spirit-raising, city-building power of a home. And so the governor's Save the Dream foreclosure prevention effort has provided counseling and legal assistance to more than 63,000 Ohioans to help them keep their home. And the governor's expansion of the homestead property tax exemption is helping seniors stay in their homes. Because, yes. Because under the program, seniors save an average of $400 every year on their property taxes. And this governor, he has fought foreclosures with available state resources and sought the cooperation of lenders, and he supports the House-passed efforts that would prevent foreclosure and keep more people in their homes. But you know what? Leaders in the state Senate haven't acted. And now they're on vacation for the summer. So let me tell you what I think. No Ohioan should get kicked to the curb while our state senators lounge by the pool. Right. We need foreclosure reform passed, and I want to thank Representative Driehaus for her leadership on House Bill 323, which would speed the recovery of foreclosed properties back into productive use, and this governor wants that legislation passed. More than anything, Ted Strickland and I understand the life-changing, spirit-raising, city-building power of good jobs. In his State of the State address, the governor announced that he wants to honor the personal ambitions of Ohioans with the Build Your Own Business program, which would be offered at our Ohio community colleges and career centers. Unemployed Ohioans interested in starting a business would receive training, mentoring, and be able to apply for small startup loans to help our new entrepreneurs take their first steps forward. This initiative is modeled after the highly successful program at Lorain Community College, where 60 of 62 businesses they have mentored are succeeding. The governor has also expanded the Ohio Historic Preservation Tax Credit because it unites the past, present, and future of Ohio cities, just like this Lincoln Theater. These vital credits preserve our historic buildings of yesterday, create jobs by strengthening these buildings and spurring new development, and protect and renew the grand structures as a legacy for generations to come. And let me add that the renewal of the Ohio Third Frontier was a great triumph for our cities. Thank you. The voters of this state came through, and all told, the Third Frontier has helped create 55,000 Ohio jobs, helped launch more than 600 companies, and attracted almost $9 for every $1 of state money invested. And in just the last round of awards announced in May, projects were funded in 4 of Ohio's 5 largest cities. The Third Frontier is helping to spur Ohio's economy. And the governor's commitment to technology and advanced energy has helped usher in new sectors of the economy in Ohio cities. In recent weeks, we've seen the announcement, I love this, that the first freshwater wind farm will be constructed off the shores of Cleveland. Can you believe that? And that Coda Automotive, an electric car company, wants to come to Ohio to create 1,000 jobs in manufacturing of its high-tech battery right here in Columbus. Can I tell you that Coda plant means something special to me? Because the building Coda has chosen on the east side of Columbus once housed an assembly line where my mother spent 8 hours a day on her feet shoving wire into a mortar board. After a long day's work, she would come home, feed her children, pick us up, and take us to her second job. For years, that building has been shuttered and that factory floor empty. And I think of people like my mother who needed those jobs to put food on the table and keep a roof over their head. And now, under this governor, those factory doors will swing open once again. Every program I've spoken of today, every aspect of our city life agenda, reflects a commitment to the people, places, and jobs of urban Ohio, a commitment to creating opportunity for others, a commitment to the future. These aren't Band-Aids. They're the building blocks of opportunity for our city residents. They're the kind of foundation-strengthening policies that experts like the Brookings Institute have called for in Ohio cities. Many of you know that Ted Strickland was a minister. And when he led a small congregation at his Methodist church, he put up a sign. It read, "Whoever you are, wherever you live, whatever color you are welcome here." And that's exactly who he is. Ted didn't grow up in a city, but he fights for our cities every day. It's like what Lorain native Toni Morrison wrote in her novel Jazz. She wrote, "When you fall in love with a city, it is forever, as though there never has been a time when you didn't love it." That's how it is for me, and that's how it is for Ted Strickland. I want to thank you for being with us this morning. I am excited about the work we're going to do over the next 4 years together, and I appreciate your support. God bless you, and God bless the great state of Ohio. Thank you very much.